I wanted to do this video to highlight just a little bit more insanity for you from the political world. This is from USA Today, and this is the op-ed from Eric Swalwell, and it's kind of a piggyback from the last video that I uploaded to my main channel. It's entitled Flashback, Ban Assault Weapons, Buy Them Back, Go After Resistors, from none other than Eric Swalwell. And his contention is to ban assault weapons and buy them back. It might cost $15 billion, but we can afford it. Consider it an investment in our most important right, the right to live. Something that all politicians are really good at is spending other people's money. This $15 billion, that's our money. And they're going to offer to buy our property, our guns, so-called scary assault weapons, to buy them back from us. And if we don't consent to this buyback, then we are criminalized. And he wants us to be prosecuted. He wants us to stand before a judge, and he wants us to be thrown into a cage if we resist his command. And he gives this story. Gary Jackson never stood a chance. Gary was 28 and working as a security guard at a taco truck in Oakland, California in 2009 when he saw Dreshawn Lee carrying a sawed-off shotgun and reported it to police. 3 months later, Lee took his revenge by shooting and killing Jackson with an AK-47 style semi-automatic assault rifle. First of all, what the heck is an assault rifle? Do you own, if you get killed with a hammer, is that an assault hammer? If you get killed with a stapler, is that an assault stapler? If you get killed with a handgun, are they going to call that an assault handgun? And what if Lee, let's just fill anything in this blank right here. What if this Dreshawn Lee was carrying a Glock 22? Would Eric Swalwell want to take that Glock 22 from other people, ban it, and institute a buyback program? Of course he would. It's just a matter of time. I was the prosecutor who persuaded a jury to convict Lee and persuaded a judge to put him away for 65 years to life, but Gary's autopsy report still haunts me. Trauma surgeons and coroners will tell you the high-velocity bullet fired from a military-style semi-automatic assault weapon moves almost 3 times as fast as a 9mm handgun bullet, delivering far more energy. To which I would say, who cares what the speed of the bullet is? The point is, a guy aimed a gun at another innocent man and killed him. Does it matter if it was going 3 times faster than a 9mm bullet? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So he's setting all this stuff up, and then he says, so Gary didn't stand much of a chance. Well, you don't stand much of a chance against a 9mm or a 45 cal or a 40 cal either. First graders and teachers in Newtown, Connecticut didn't either. Nor did dancers at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, nor concert goers in Las Vegas, nor teenagers at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, nor the people at the Waffle House outside Nashville. Like so many American mass shooting victims in recent decades, their doom was all but assured by the murderer's tool. And that's all it is. A gun is just a tool. That's all it is. It's not an assault tool. It's just a tool. The person who commits the assault is the person who's wielding the tool. It's obvious. Nevertheless, we can give ourselves and our children the chance these victims never had. And what's that chance, Eric? We can finally act to remove weapons designed for war from our streets once and for all. Weapons designed for war. These are the euphemisms they use to scare people who don't question, who don't use their critical thinking skills to figure out what the hell's going on. When somebody's using a euphemism to cover for a crime they're about to commit, these politicians are actually committing crimes when they're victimizing innocent people and trying to steal their property. Reinstating the federal assault weapons ban that was in effect from 1994 to 2004 would prohibit manufacture and sales, but it would not affect weapons already possessed. And he wants to affect weapons already possessed. This would leave millions of assault weapons in our communities for decades to come. Instead, we should ban possession of military-style semi-automatic assault weapons. Let's just say it the way they want us to say it. Military-style semi-automatic assault weapons. We should buy back such weapons from all who choose to abide by the law. Whose law, Eric? Whose law? Your law. We should buy back weapons from all who choose to abide by my command, my edict, says Eric. And we should criminally prosecute any who choose to defy it. What's it, Eric? We should criminally prosecute anyone who choose to disobey my command, Eric Swalwell's command, by keeping their weapons. Whose weapons, Eric? Their weapons. You have no right to their weapons. The ban would not apply to law enforcement agencies or shooting clubs. Well, of course they wouldn't. These bans are all about a transfer of power, taking power from you and giving power to law enforcement agencies, giving power to politicians. But here's what I wanted to hone in on. There's something new and different about the surviving Parkland high schoolers' demands. They dismiss the moral equivalence we've made for so long regarding the Second Amendment. Oh, here we go. I've been guilty of it myself, telling constituents and reporters that we can protect the Second Amendment and protect lives. His implication is, no, if we want to protect lives, we can't protect the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. The Parkland teens have taught us. Oh, really? What did they teach us, Eric? There is no right more important than every student's right to come home after class. Is this true? I mean, it sounds good. We all want students to be able to come home after class. We all want students to be safe in the classroom. None of us wants to see a student die because some lunatic comes in there with a gun and starts open firing. We don't want that. None of us does. But then to create this situation, the Parkland teens have taught us there's no right more important than every student's right to come home after class. The right to live is supreme over any other. Yeah, I agree. The right to live is supreme over any other. And that means the 200,000 women who protect themselves every single year by the use of a firearm. And they should have their right to choose which firearm they want to use. Do you want to use a Glock? Do you want to use a Smith & Wesson? Do you want to use a Springfield? Do you want to use an AK-47? Do you want to use an Armalite rifle? Well, that's your choice. You can use whatever you want to use, and nobody has a right to interfere with that purchase. Our courts haven't found a constitutional right to have assault weapons anyway. Assault weapons? Now we're going to glorify a man, one man, over other men. Or these men and women in the Supreme Court. They get to make the final decision on what you and I can own? That's BS. That's BS. When the Supreme Court held in 2008 that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess a firearm, Justice Antonin Scalia wrote, "This right is not unlimited and is not a right to keep and carry any weapon whatsoever in any manner whatsoever and for whatever purpose." Guess what? This right here is bogus. I don't care what Justice Antonin Scalia said. I don't care what any Supreme Court justice says. Nobody has a right to tell you what you can or can't own. And nobody has a right to criminalize you because you own something. If you've done nothing wrong, if you're an innocent person, nobody has a right, no third party, I don't care if they're called government agents, I don't care if they're called Supreme Court justices, I don't care if they're called law enforcement, and I definitely don't care if it's Eric Swalwell. I don't care about any politician. No man has a higher claim over your life and property than you, and therefore no man has the right to tell you what you can or can't own. And certainly nobody has a right to come into your life and ruin your family's life by taking you and hauling your ass to a cage because you chose to live as a free man and you chose to disobey the arbitrary edicts of psychopathic criminal politicians like Eric Swalwell. Leave your thoughts about this article for The World, the Google Thought Police, and gun-grabbing Eric Swalwell in the comments section below.